Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Matt Skraby wraps up a full day of live and local sports talk.
And that is the whole problem with aliens. You just can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello and welcome into the Skraby Show for April 3rd, 2025. Thank you for joining me. You can watch on YouTube if you would like. Just go to YouTube. You can search at the Skraby Show, or you can search 97.3 The Fan. We're on both YouTube channels right now. Facebook 97.3 The Fan, and also if you want to watch on X, it's at Matt Skraby, MATTSKRA, B as in boy, Y. I hope everyone enjoyed the roundtable out there. I did one of those last year, and it was really fun. And I'm going to be doing more of those this year, and I had a really good time. So the crew, we were all pretty happy to be talking about a 7-0 Padres team. We haven't felt the sting of a loss yet. And we all know it's going to come to an end at some point, but I'm going to continue to ride this high for a little bit. I don't think that anyone thought they were going to start 7-0, and no one thought the Dodgers were going to start 8-0, but to have two teams from the National League West who have lost no games this season is pretty incredible, and it just shows you how tough the National League West is. And then you got the Giants, who only have one loss. Then you got the Rockies, who have a bunch of losses. But still, I mean, the National League West is where it's at. If you're playing in the National League Central or the American League Central, or actually, I think it's just the American League Central. If you're playing in the AL Central, you are 100% going to be on top of the division. And that's just kind of unfortunate. I mean, really, you're going to be on top of every division, but the reason I'm picking on the AL Central is because every team in the AL Central is 2-4, and which is surprising because the Royals are even 2-4. And the National League Central, the Cardinals are actually playing some good baseball, but the AL Central is always one of those divisions that is so bad collectively. Like, there might be a good team in there, but collectively they are really bad. And the Padres are just going to have to keep fighting the good fight and try to win the division, try to get a wild card. But when you got, I forgot to mention the Diamondbacks, who are actually losing right now. So it would be they would become 4-3. It's the bottom of the sixth in New York. They are losing 9-3. So in the top four teams in the National League West, they've only lost 3 games so far this season. The Rockies have lost 5, so we're not going to count them. But these teams have only lost 3 games this season. That is how difficult everything is. And I think we've all seen why the Padres have been as good as they've been. We've talked about it, not ad nauseum because it's fun stuff to talk about, but we talked about it a lot. What they're doing on the bases this season, it's completely different from what we've seen. And I love the aggressiveness on the bases because there's been plenty of times in the past where we've watched Padres baseball and they just don't move on the bases at all. And it ends up becoming really frustrating because they're not scoring runs. But when they're doing what they're doing and they're being aggressive and they're putting pressure on the other team, I think that is the exact formula the Padres need. Jackson Merrill says it better than anyone else could say it.
We apply pressure, we don't feel it.
We apply pressure, we don't feel it. I love it. And when you apply pressure, you're forcing the defense to make a play, and the defense is not going to make the play every single time. And when you have guys like Jackson Merrill running the bases, you got guys like Brandon Lockridge with speed, Fernando Tatis Jr. with speed. Think about a ball that goes in the outfield and you see Fernando take off from first and he's going first to third, and you're trying to not allow him to go first to third, and you see him out of the corner of your eye take off. You're going to speed everything up. You're going to speed everything up because you know that if you take any extra seconds to get this ball into the infield, Fernando's going to possibly be at third, maybe even home if you throw the ball away or if you take a little bit longer. Fernando stole home yesterday, and that's not the first time he's stolen home in his career. And what they're doing on the bases is not only exciting, but it's building an identity within this team. Teams are not going to want to see the Padres get on base because they're going to make life hell for them on the bases. And I love it. Fernando's already got 5 steals on the season. I believe Manny has 4 steals. Xander Bogaerts even has 3 steals this year, which obviously those aren't going to keep up, at least with Manny and Xander Bogaerts. But what they've done so far is completely different than what I thought they were going to do. I didn't think that they were going to start the season on a losing streak or anything like that, but 7-0, much, much, much better than I would have ever thought to start the season. And it is kind of hard to believe that the Dodgers are 8-0. So it's kind of hard to believe that there's no defending champion that has ever started the next season 8-0 in all of baseball history. I think that's kind of strange, but having 2 teams starting undefeated this late in the year is not something that happens often either. So we are shaping up for a pretty exciting baseball season, I would think. And I think everybody feels that way out there, because if you can keep pace with the Dodgers, you can put that pressure on them. And I would much rather be the team chasing rather than being the team being chased. We saw the Padres chased 3 or 4 years ago. What was it? 2021. I was on pre and post game shows, and they dwindled their wild card lead all the way down to the point where they didn't make the playoffs. And so playing this well this early is incredibly important. It was one of the things I talked about a lot in the offseason, which was they need to have a good start. They need to be able to keep pace with the top teams in the National League, and that's exactly what they're doing. They did make a move today. They tweeted out this earlier. We have selected outfielder Oscar Gonzalez to the Major League roster and optioned him to AAA El Paso. To make room on the 40-man roster, Johnny Brito has been transferred to the 60-day IL. And here's the most surprising part of everything. Additionally, infielder Eggy Rosario has cleared waivers and been outrighted to El Paso. So basically what they did, they put Oscar Gonzalez on the 40-man roster, then they sent him to AAA. And Eggy Rosario, we all thought that he was going to be claimed by another team. And the Padres were able to try to find trades, all that. But he made it through waivers. No teams claimed him, apparently. And he is back on the Padres roster. And so they didn't lose either of the guys that they were having a hard time with the roster decision, Tyler Wade and Eggy Rosario. And all this does is give the Padres a lot of depth. And depth is something that we're going to talk about a lot throughout the season, because baseball is a tough sport. It's a grind. It's an everyday thing. And these guys aren't going to stay healthy all season. Like, hopefully there's no bad injuries or long-term injuries, but there's going to be times where Fernando maybe has to sit a couple days. I don't know. Fernando looks like a new human being this year, so maybe not him, but there's going to be other times where, there's going to be guys who are going to be nicked up. They're going to need to maybe go on one IL stay for 10 days and then come back. But Padres can dip into many different avenues throughout their minor league system. So things, I almost feel kind of stupid over the offseason for worrying so much, but honestly, I couldn't not worry because of all the roster building that was being done around Major League Baseball and seeing the Padres kind of stand pat. But to my credit, I also did say we have to wait until spring training, because AJ Preller is someone who does a lot of work during spring training, and he finds the right guys. He's patient, which is not always easy, especially when other guys are being signed around the league. It's not easy at all. So they still have Tyler Wade. They still have Eggy Rosario. Oscar Gonzalez did some great things during spring training. Maybe Oscar Gonzalez is being looked at for a left field spot, because that's really the spot right now where they're trying to find more consistency. Jason Hayward is playing left field. Brandon Lockridge has played left field. They still got Connor Joe down in the minor leagues. So it's a good problem to have for the Padres, and this season is off to an amazing start. And not only that, I mean, I have to bring up Jackson Merrill here in the first segment, because Jackson Merrill is my favorite player on the Padres team, and there's many different reasons for that. Number one, he's really good at baseball. Number two, he has power, which I look for in a baseball player. Number three, he's just a smart guy. and he gets it. That's the biggest thing for me, is that he gets it. Jackson Merrill is exactly who he told us he was. And when I was going through, I'm not trying to mix Jackson Merrill with my rehab, but in rehab, I learned, if you're just tuning in for the first time, I haven't had a drink in over 8 years, and I'm a recovering alcoholic. But when I went to rehab, I learned that you need to listen to people when they tell you who they are. And I know that that's more of like interpersonal stuff. But when Jackson Merrill has been telling us for the last year that he just wants to play baseball and he just wants to win. Yes, he's saying all the right things, but I think now he has proven that that is exactly who he is. I don't think he really cares about the money, and I got some pushback the other day on X for it, at Matt Skraby. To the people who say that he doesn't care about the money and disagrees with me, okay, he does care about the money. Everybody cares about the money. But he's not concerned with being the highest paid guy in the league. He's not concerned with getting that $600 million contract. He's not concerned with that stuff. He truly, to me, has proven now that all he wants to do is play baseball and he wants to win. He does not have to worry about anything for the next 9-10 years because he's under contract. Now, I did see something earlier about Scott Boras saying that this is team-friendly deals never work out. And I'm going to take this with a grain of salt because Scott Boras is a guy who tries to get as much money as possible. Money is his driver. And I don't know that a team-friendly deal like this is going to end up, and Scott Boras said, it's going to end up in a trade. I don't think that's true. If Jackson Merrill wins 2 MVPs, 3 MVPs, and he's just this incredible baseball player, I'm pretty sure the Padres are going to try and make him happy. So Scott Boras is I don't want to say greedy because I don't know the guy. He's just doing what his clients want him to do. But at the same time, he has, let guys go deep into the offseason without a contract, and then they end up having to sign 1-year deals because no one wants to pay these guys lots of money. And so, like, when Scott Boras says that team-friendly deals never work out for the team, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't believe that. Maybe it doesn't work out for some guys, but Jackson Merrill is a completely different human being from any of the other guys that have come before him. And I really like that in this day and age, you could find someone who's like this, especially so young and so thoughtful. He's 21 years old, and he says stuff that 35-year-old vets don't even say. And there's so much to be excited about. During his press conference, he said, thinking about me next to Fernando in center field and right field for the next 9 years is exciting. Yeah, it's extremely exciting. Him saying that it's important, and he talked to AJ about being more involved in the organization, whether that is being out and about in the city, whether that's talking to minor league players, whatever he wants to do or needs to do, they should let him do, because this is building culture. Bringing in guys that are concerned with one thing, which is winning, and bringing in a culture to this team where you come to the Padres, you're expected to give your best effort at all times. And if you come to the Padres, you're expected to put all that baggage that you may have. You need to leave that out of the clubhouse, leave that out of Petco Park, and you're expected to come in and play baseball. And that's why I think AJ Preller is so selective on certain guys. And AJ Preller is someone who knows that the clubhouse needs a certain personality and goes out and gets it. I could talk about Jackson Merrill for the next 3 days, really, but I wanted to get that out first because I don't want to go too far, but Mike Schilt is from the the St. Louis organization, which is where for a long time we all said that the St. Louis Cardinals organization is the one you want to be like, the one you want to mimic. And so the St. Louis Cardinals situation kind of feels like, the Padres situation kind of feels like the Cardinals situation before Schilt was fired, when things were working and they were churning out players, and they were winning, going to the playoffs. Mike Schilt won Manager of the Year. I really think that guys like Jackson Merrill can help build a culture, because you know what? When new minor league players come in and the Padres need some major league players to go talk to those minor league players, they can go ask Jackson Merrill, and he can give them his outlook, and he can kind of set the tone for everything. And so there are so many different ways I could go with this contract extension, but I gotta say, it was one of the most pleasant surprises to wake up and see that Jackson Merrill had been extended. I honestly thought it was fake. I really, really thought it was fake. I looked at the date, April 2nd. Okay, I'm good. Then I looked at all the different reporting. Okay, we're good. We're good. And it was true. And it was a pleasant surprise when I woke up. When I woke up. Diamondbacks just hit a big home run. It is now 9-7 in the top of the 7th inning. The Yankees are leading, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. When we get back, I have a massive Skrabinator announcement. I know I'm going to be a little late on it, but I have a massive Skrabinator announcement. I'm going to talk more about Jackson Merrill. We're going to get into his contract a little bit. And then my daily gripe is something that happened today. So stick around. I'm Matt Skraby. This is the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, Donnie, guess what?
What's that, man?
have a huge announcement for everyone. And I think some people may know where this is going. Because, should I just get to it now? I said 6:20, it's 6:22. I think it's time to get to it. Skrabinator Game 3 is being announced right now. And I am very happy to say that I have secured a night game for Skrabinator Game 3. And if you don't know what a Skrabinator game is, I randomly asked my boss last year, hey, sometimes the suite for Odyssey isn't being used. Can I get some tickets and give them out to listeners and we can go all watch a game together? So last year we did 2 games. The first game was against the Cubs, and I don't actually remember who the second game was against, but it doesn't matter because we all had a good time, and that's why I don't remember. But this time we have a 6:40 p.m. start. Angels are coming to town on Monday, May 12th, 2025, and that is the game that we are going to go to this for the first part of the season. Of course, I'm going to try to lock up a second one. I can't guarantee it, but I'm very proud and happy that the people at the higher ups here, the decision makers here, are so behind this Skrabinator night, and they realize that it means a lot to all of you. And getting into a suite, you know, I had never watched a game in a suite before until I started working here. I got to tell you, watching a game in a suite is pretty sweet. It's a bad joke, I know. It's much different than you going to a game and sitting in your seat. And my favorite part of everything is that the suite has its own bathroom, so you don't have to fight the bathroom lines and everything. So I've put up the link on Twitter at Matt Skraby, at 97.3 The Fan SD. I've also put it on Facebook, 97.3 The Fan, and you can go to 97.3thefansd.com and go to the contest page to sign up. So if you're interested in signing up, now it's 1 ticket per person this year. I can't be giving away double tickets. It's 1 ticket per person, and you're going to be notified if you are selected for the game. You're going to be notified in the week before the game, so I can find people if certain people can't go, so I can offer the tickets to someone else so the people picked or have first right of refusal. And if you can't go, please sign up, or please don't sign up. I almost messed that up. If you can't go, please don't sign up, because last year I had a lot of people that signed up but couldn't go, and so I had to jump through some hoops trying to give away these tickets. But again, it's 1 ticket per person. You're going to be notified in the week before the game. If you can't go, please don't sign up. But I know that we had about 40-something Skrabinators last year that went to a Skrabinator game. And I really tried hard because I got some messages because last year's games were in the middle of the day. And I got some messages on social media over the off season saying, hey, if you do another Skrabinator game, can you please try to do one at night? Because I teach or I work or I can't go because I have to watch my kids or whatever it is. It's the middle of the day is tough for a lot of people. So this one is 6:40 p.m. And so if you want to go to 97.3thefansd.com, contest page, look for the Skrabinator game, and then sign up there. Or you can go to Twitter at Matt Skraby, MATTSKRAB as in boy Y. You can go to at 97.3thefansd on X. And on Facebook, 97.3 The Fan. There are plenty of places where you can go and try and sign up for this. It's a very simple sign-up form. It's much simpler than the sign-up form that we had for the college basketball bracket, NCAA bracket, which, some people got the password somehow, some people didn't. I think I'm going to go in a different direction next year. I'm not going to go with ESPN anymore for this stuff. The only reason I went with ESPN is because they allowed many people to sign up. And a couple years ago, we did Yahoo, and Yahoo only allowed 100 people to sign up. And so we had to create 3 different leagues for it. And so I was looking for one place for it, and ESPN was that place. But last year, I found out as the administrator of the group, you can't message or you can't find out who is in your group, at least for the Survivor Pick'em. Because I haven't even really tried yet for the March Madness thing, but it was frustrating last year when we had the winner and we just couldn't find him. Couldn't find the winner whatsoever. So I'm going to try to go in a different direction. But closing it all up, Skrabinator Game 3, Monday, May 12th, 2025, 6:40 p.m. Angels are coming to town. And if you want to sign up, go to 973thefansd.com, at Matt Skraby, at 973thefansd, or Facebook, 973thefan. I also have it. I also have a bunch of links in my YouTube description for the Skraby Show. If you type in youtube.com/at the Skraby Show, you'll be taken there. Click on this video, go to the bottom, and you'll see some of those links there. I'm actually wearing, I gotta say, we didn't really talk about Tom's Watch Bar, which we did last Saturday. Chris and I and Ben Woods and Braden Soprenet, we all went down there before the game and broadcasted, and it was a madhouse in a good way. There were so many people there, met a ton of really fun and excited listeners to be going to the game that day. And I was like, shocked is the first word. Grateful is the second word, and honored is the third word that I saw Skrabinator t-shirts out there. I really appreciate everyone who's bought one of those, because it really does blow me away a little bit to see those walking around the park and see those downtown or wherever. But I also have other stuff up there, like this sweatshirt. Well, this is just great, everybody. If you're curious, you can go to my Twitter or my Instagram at Matt Skraby. There's a link in the bio, or you can go to skrabinator.com, which is something I just created as well. I've been busy, everybody. I've been real busy. I've been trying to make a place where it's way easier to get people to, point them in the right direction for certain things. And so skrabinator.com, there's a picture of a t-shirt. You can click that. Now that that's out of the way, let's go over Jackson Merrill's contract. Because maybe with enough t-shirt sales, I can get to the $10 million signing bonus that Jackson Merrill got yesterday. There's part of it, the contract, and I love going through contracts. I don't know why I love it so much, but I love I love creative contracts. I don't like the ones that are just straight up like 15 years, $500 million. That's not fun to me. But something like this is fun, and there's two parts of it. There's a simple part, and there's also kind of a tricky part for later in the contract. But here's the simple parts. Merrill is going to be making $10 million in signing bonus, and he's going to get $1 million this year and $3 million in each of the next 3 seasons. The contract actually begins next season. So he has a guaranteed salary of $1 million in 2026, $6 million in 2027, $8 million 2028, $10 million 2029, and then $20 million a year from 2030 through 2034. So it keeps incrementally going higher, which is something that also helps out the team. And I saw Katrina on the chat say something I wish I would have thought of. And that was, I was talking about Scott Boras being kind of annoyed with the Jackson Merrill contract. And he said, this is team-friendly contracts don't work. Katrina made a really good point. If Jackson Merrill takes a team-friendly contract like he did, then it hurts the business of Scott Boras by trying to get all the money for every one of the players that he represents, because Jackson Merrill is breaking the mold a little bit. And I read some reports that the MLBPA actually encouraged him not to take this deal. And that's another reason. I mean, this might just turn into a show praising Jackson Merrill, because why not? That's another reason that I love Jackson Merrill. He's not afraid to do something different. He's not afraid to get a message from the MLBPA saying, don't take this contract, it's bad. And he does it anyway because he just wants to play baseball. Love that. Love it, love it, love it. Also, there is a club option for 2034 that carries a base salary of $21 million. But that is where it becomes a little tricky, because the option year becomes a player option worth $30 million in 2034 if Jackson Merrill finishes in the top 5 in MVP voting in any of the contract's 9 years. So 2026 through 2035, if Jackson Merrill finishes top 5 in MVP voting in any of those seasons, the last year of the contract becomes it's not a team option anymore. It is now a player option. So if Jackson Merrill thinks, hey, $30 million is more than I'm going to get on the market, then he can opt in. If in any part of the 9 years he gets the top 5 in MVP voting, which I totally think could happen at some point during the 9-year contract. Top 5? Yeah, I think that can happen. He can also earn $1 million more every year from 2030 through 34 For each year he reaches 500 plate appearances, and I was reading the breakdown about this part of the contract, and that part of the contract, his representatives and Jackson himself thought, that's no problem. I'm going to get 500 plate appearances. That's not a big deal. So that's an easy $1 million for me. Jackson Merrill obviously has to stay healthy, but hasn't had an issue yet. And I don't foresee one coming. And the final thing about his contract, he can also earn an additional $1 million from 2030 through 2034 for every year he finishes in the top 10 in MVP voting. So when it's all said and done, his contract max value is worth over $200 million, between 200 and 210. I'm not gonna do the math off the top of my head, but 200 to 210 million is what it's worth. And someone messaged me actually on X the other day when I was tweeting about Jackson Merrill, and they said people don't also realize that the taxes in California are going to take a lot of it. They're going to take a lot of his contract. So when he's signing a 9-year, $135 million deal, it's not as much as $135 million. So that's another thing that Jackson Merrill could have, went to a different place and maybe go to Florida, maybe go to Arizona where there's no income tax and he can make all the money. But another reason why Jackson Merrill is great, everybody. Another reason. I mean, I don't really know how you're not able to teach what kind of, how do I want to say this? You're not able to teach his maturity, and you're not able to teach some of the things that he thinks and does. Now, his parents did an amazing job raising him because they raised him into a guy who's a guy who's on the precipice of being a superstar in Major League Baseball, and he still is just a humble guy who wants to play baseball. And I believe it. And this contract really did show it to me that he is everything that he said he is. All right. Scrabinator game announcement done. You can go back in the YouTube if you want to watch that. Now, when we get back, I kind of teased it a little bit earlier, but we're going to talk about Major League Baseball's tweeting and how many times they tweet certain teams. Someone went through and counted up every single time they tweeted about a team. So we're going to go through that. We're going to break that one down. And then also I have one final thought on Jackson Merrill. And it's more because I always criticize a certain type of person. So if I'm going to continue to criticize people, then I also need to celebrate people as well. So all of that is ahead on the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan. You're listening to the Jackson Merrill Celebration Show on 97.3 The Fan. Didn't really mean for it to become a Jackson Merrill Celebration Show, but why not? The guy chose San Diego over everything else. I don't know if I'm going too far with my praise for Jackson Merrill, but I really do think it's very difficult in this day and age to find someone like him and to find someone with the thoughts that he has. And we'll go back to that in just a little bit because I want to finish up on a Jackson Merrill thought. But we have a daily gripe at the end of the show, and it has to do something with the round table. Nothing with the guys. I'll tell you about it. But I think it was Kathy who sent this to me earlier on X at Matt Skraby. And Brooksgate is an account that goes through like certain weird sort of topics. I don't know what else to call them, but this one is number of times the official MLB account has tweeted about each team since opening day. Now let's start at the bottom. 3 times have the Rockies been tweeted since opening day, which I don't blame because there's nothing going on with the Rockies. The Guardians, they got some stars, but they've been tweeted 6 times. And then you got teams like the Twins 7 times, the Braves 8 times. And a lot of these coincide with teams that aren't winning at the moment. But if you keep going up, you see the Giants tweeted about 11 times. You see the A's tweeted about 21 times. The Diamondbacks 23 times. But if you go all the way to the top, and this is, I don't even know, coming into today, the Dodgers have been tweeted about 68 times since opening day. 68 times. The Yankees, 52 times since opening day. And now I'm assuming the Yankees are up there because of all the home runs they hit earlier in the year. And everybody was talking about the torpedo bat for the last week or so, which I think it's really funny when people, I think it's really funny when I get messages or when people tell me, hey, bro, the torpedo bat's been around for a really long time. I don't know why you guys are acting like it's new. Well, I didn't know about the torpedo bat. Sorry. I don't study every sort of bat size and type out there. And so now I'm learning about it. You can blame the national media for this, for not bringing it up years ago. But just because I didn't know about it doesn't mean I'm an idiot, which is what some of these people think. But the torpedo bat Yankees, 52. Padres, 33, and the Cubs, 30. Now, the Padres are third, which I honestly think is a little bit higher than where I expected them to be. Because I follow MLB. I actually get notifications from MLB just so I could stay up on the news. And I haven't seen the Padres tweeted at that much. Maybe I'm just missing those. Obviously, I'm missing those if they have 33 of them. But 68 times since opening day is a little much. And I know that the Dodgers are defending world champions. And I know that they are now 8-0, the first team in history to start the next season undefeated, 8 wins after they've won a championship. But this tells me everything I need to know. Major League Baseball is pushing the Dodgers on everyone. And I know that there are people out there rolling their eyes right now. And I know that there are people out there that don't want me to talk about this because we don't want to show the Dodgers that we are annoyed by this or we have a weakness or anything. It's not a weakness. When Major League Baseball is promoting their teams, it is definitely calculated. They want everybody in the world to know about the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani. And I think when I say in the world, I'm being truthful there because they want all of the international market. And yet, that's the only reason I can imagine them tweeting 68 times since opening day. It's only been a week since opening day, and they've been tweeted 68 times. I just feel like that's a little skewed. And I'm going to get the argument, well, they are the world champions, so why wouldn't they talk about them? How many times, I would have to go back and count. I don't know the number to this, but I guarantee you they did not tweet about the Rangers winning the World Series 68 times in a week a couple years ago. I can guarantee that because the Dodgers right now are, I can't say America's team. They're in some people's eyes, they're the world's team. And now that Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki are all there, they're definitely Japan's team. And I would like to see more tweets about other stuff. I want to know about other players. I'm not even asking for them to tweet more about the Padres because I already get all my Padres news. But I want to hear more about the other teams. The Royals and the Tigers have only been tweeted 9 times since opening day. Both of those teams have really good players. And so I want to see what's happening with them. The A's, why do the A's deserve to be tweeted 21 times? Because Major League Baseball is pushing the A's on all of us. They want us to accept this Las Vegas thing. That's why they're tweeting about the A's. Because otherwise, there is zero reason to be tweeting about the A's. They are getting crushed at their home park. Well, not currently, but in the last couple days, they have been crushed at their home park. And let me go see what their record is right now, just to be sure. Maybe they're winning, and I just am not paying attention to it. But the A's are 2-5. So the only reason that they're being tweeted like that is because of the Las Vegas move, and they want to put them out there. Now, this is what I'm most surprised about. The Pittsburgh Pirates with Paul Skeens has only been tweeted 17 times since opening day. That is extremely, extremely surprising. Now, maybe, and this goes back to last year's conversation with the Rookie of the Year, but maybe it's because Paul Skeens has only made 2 appearances so far this year. Maybe that's why they've only tweeted about him 17 times. I mean, the Pirates otherwise aren't doing great things, but I find this to be very annoying because I just think there needs to be a little bit. This is not something they're trying to hide. This is something that's right out there in front of everyone, and it bothers me. And it's always going to bother me. And it could be another team up there. It doesn't have to be the Dodgers. Truthfully, it doesn't have to be the Dodgers. If it was the Yankees, I would probably be complaining about the Yankees. If it was the Mets, I would probably be complaining about the Mets. If it was the Braves, I would probably be complaining about the Braves. Although I've never really hated the Braves, so I'm not sure if I would complain about the Braves. But any of those other teams, like I just don't. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of this. And 68 times since opening day, the Dodgers have been tweeted by Major League Baseball. I think I brought it up a couple weeks ago. Like if you go to their Instagram, and then I did go to their Instagram later, and they have been posting other stuff. But if you went to their Instagram, everything was about the Dodgers all the time. All the time. Blue Meanie says they're ESPN and MLB's team media propaganda. Okay. Media propaganda. Yeah, I can get behind that. But I also think that they're just pushing the team that's popular right now. I would love for them to have tweeted 68 times about the Rangers after they won their World Series. But we know that's not going to happen. All right, I'll step off my soapbox. That is not the daily gripe. I do have a daily gripe. But I have a couple minutes left, and I'm going to spend it one more time on Jackson Merrill and my thoughts on him. I've had a couple days to think about this. This is my first Skraby Show of the week. I believe I have one tomorrow because the game is in the middle of the day. So we'll be able to revisit this tomorrow if we want to. But I've had so many thoughts about this. And if I'm going to always call out people that seem selfish or all about the money, Juan Soto, I have to use the same energy for talking about guys like Jackson Merrill. I can't just be the negative guy who always brings up all the negative things and always says that he hates people, even though I am the guy who just got done spending 5 minutes saying how much he hates the Major League Baseball tweets about the Dodgers. But I have to use that same energy for talking about guys like Jackson Merrill because it's so important to me that this message gets out there. These are the guys I want my future kids to look up to. Jackson Merrill. These are the guys I can safely and proudly tell people about and spread the word about what kind of person they are. Now, like, you don't tell your friends about players that are bad people unless you're talking about them to make fun of them, but I will definitely tell all my friends about Jackson Merrill and what he's doing and how great of a mentality that he has and how great of an attitude that he has. And these people show me there is still Jackson Merrill and people like him show me there are still some people out there making their own decisions because they want to do something and not what someone else wants them to do. And I do sometimes get caught up in the cycle of negative. So I'm going to try and be more positive. I don't know how long that's going to last, but when you have someone who's chosen San Diego, and when you have someone who has their entire career ahead of them and they are more worried about winning games, like yesterday after the game, they asked him about his contract and his home run. He said, I don't care about any of that. We're 7-0. That's all I care about. And that's what I 100% believe about him. So this has been the Jackson Merrill celebration show, and I'm not ashamed of it because he's something that all of us are very excited about. And Braden said something on the roundtable that I think is very important as well. That Woods' kids, is the only one on the station outside of Tony who wasn't there this morning, but his kids are young enough to look up to baseball players, and his kids love baseball. Woods' kids have a role model that they can look up to. And also on top of that, they have a guy that they can look up to for a long time. And it's not even that. They can look up to Manny. They can look up to Fernando. They can look up to Jackson Merrill. They can look up to a lot of these guys for a long time because they have locked them up. And I think that is awesome for kids out there. I think it's awesome that they're going to grow up in a Padres land where the Padres are serious contenders each and every year. I love that for the kids of San Diego, because when I was growing up in the Bay Area, I wasn't really much of a baseball kid anyway. I played baseball, but I didn't pay attention much to baseball. But the only thing I knew about the Padres when I was a kid was Tony Gwynn. And that's pretty surprising, actually, that it made it all the way to me. But those are things that I think we're not giving enough credit to. And so if you're a young ball player out there, you can go to the park and you can watch someone who you can really aim to be like. And maybe one day, if you're listening right now and you're a baseball player, maybe one day if you try to work as hard as Jackson Merrill, you might even be playing center field for the Padres.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
All right. Daily Gripe has to do with the roundtable. And I got to know, because here's a funny little thing about me. Before shows, I don't tend to eat bad, like heavy food, like pizza. It's not bad food. It's heavy food. I don't like to eat that stuff before shows because I don't want to, have the meat sweats during the show after I eat the King Arthur Supreme from Round Table Pizza. But the sales guy, Rick, he told me before the show, Skraby, saved you a piece of pizza. It's in the fridge. You can get that whenever you want. But I wanted you to know that I saved it for you. So what did I do during the round table? I went to go get my round table, and it was gone. Now, my name wasn't on it, so I'm willing to say that I probably shouldn't put my name on it. But someone stole my piece of pizza, and I am starving. I'm hungry, and it's all because someone stole my round table pizza. So if you're that person and you're listening right now, just know I'm going to try and find out who you are. Not really. All right. Hope everybody enjoyed the Skraby Show. Go check out Skraby Game 3 at Matt Skraby. Talk to you all tomorrow.